Hello everyone. Hello tribe. Welcome back to my channel. Yaje here, super fired up to share another gardening video with you. Today we are going to be talking about container gardening. I'm going to be taking you around my backyard to share with you what I have growing in containers, and then I will drop some tips on how you can successfully do container gardening. The reason why I wanted to do this video is just to share with you what is possible. Some of you might not have the space to do in-ground backyard gardening. I'm telling you that container gardening is an option for everybody. There are some advantages, some disadvantages, some struggles. I'm going to discuss all of that as I go around showing you the different crops that I have growing in containers. If we're just meeting for the first time, hello again and welcome. I am Yaje and I grow exciting African vegetables outside of the tropics. My garden is here in Houston, Texas in Zone 9A. So this is the side of my building and I have a bunch of containers, I think about 52 different containers of peppers growing in them. So let me show you. So over here I have about 9 containers of peppers on a pallet, as you can see in this space. And these peppers are fatali peppers. They are beginning to fruit, as you can see. You can see that. I even have an okra growing in a container. This is the hill country red okra, this one here. So you can grow, oh my god, you can grow okras in containers. What I also want you to note is that I have water leaves growing in the same pots that I have the peppers growing in. These are even more peppers. As you can see, this is a very small space between the side of my house and the fence over here. Normally, this is like useless space, let me put it like that. Nobody ever uses it for anything. But I have, peppers going on over here. Again, in total, there are about 52 different containers. Just look at what I did. So these are the different peppers I have growing in containers. Again, there are about 52 of them. One of the advantages of doing container gardening is that you can absolutely move the containers around, which is one reason why I planted these peppers in containers. When it is very hot and the days are very long, sometimes when your peppers bloom, the blooms can drop and not produce the fruit. So I had the peppers in containers so that I could move them around, maybe find more shaded areas. As you can see, I have different types of exotic peppers, Bitterleaf peppers, fatali peppers. Yes, fatali peppers originated from Central Africa. I believe Bitterleaf peppers are from Ethiopia. I have fish peppers, Trinidad scorpion, and just different types of fun peppers. I love peppers like that. You can absolutely grow a lot of peppers in containers if you have very little space. Behind me, I have more containers. I have fabric bags. These are referred to as fabric bags because they're made out of fabric, and these are very good as far as the type of containers to use. They allow the roots to breathe better. The other ones that I just showed you over there were plastic containers. I bought those from a nursery for cheap. So that is an idea there. If you're going to do container gardening, you might end up spending a lot of money buying the containers. It just depends on how many you're buying. I'm going to recommend that you get these fabric bags, and when you're looking for them on Amazon, look for the ones that are affordable. There are some that are pricey. Those are going to last year on year on year, but they also have very affordable ones that you can buy maybe 20 or so in a pack. A lot of them in a pack, I forget. Those ones are cheap, but just note that cheap things cost dear, like my husband would say. Like cheap things, it means you are not going to use it forever like that. You can spend a lot of money or you can spend very little money. It's up to you, but there are ways to go about that so you don't end up spending a lot of money. Anyway, I have fabric bags here, and I'm growing okras in the fabric bags. These are okras that were meant for container gardening. The one that I showed you over there is like a regular type of okra that can grow like a tree, but when you put that in a container, it dwarfs the okra. It's still going to do well, but it's going to make it, you know, shorter and less productive. But you can buy okra that grows in containers, which is what I have over here. I also have what is referred to as a sunken container garden right here, which just means that I dug into the earth, I cut the base of a container and buried half of it in the earth and then filled it up with soil. So it's kind of a hybrid between in-ground gardening and container gardening, just also to make use of spaces that otherwise, you know, would be useless. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. So these are the okras, and these are 5-gallon grow bags, by the way. They're 5-gallon grow bags. You can see the okra is doing well. It's doing very well in the containers. I have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in grow bags over here. And then in the sunken garden, which I don't know if you can see, the sunken garden is right here. So that's the sunken garden. You can see the container is almost buried. I have bell peppers growing. This is July and it's been very hot, but you know, the peppers are doing okay. You can see the bell peppers. I also have this herb right here, is known as the African basil or holy basil or scent leaf. I have a thyme bush right down there. So yeah. And this is the Bitterleaf growing in a 5-gallon grow bag, and this is the second year. You know, bitter leaves are like perennials, they come back. So I had this last year, it survived the winter and it is back. So you can absolutely grow bitter leaves in a container if you did not know that. So if you live in an apartment, put a bitter leaf stem or 2 in a container. This one I harvested recently, but I've also had this for a while now. The bitter leaves are growing in grow bags. And tribe, here is fluted pumpkin growing in containers. You can absolutely grow fluted pumpkins in containers. The ones that I have over here, I've been growing them since like March in fabric bags, 5-gallon fabric bags. And then behind me over here, this is a fresh batch of the fluted pumpkin, the ugu, and these ones are growing in 3-gallon container, plastic container. So I'm just kind of like comparing the two to see if the 3-gallon container is going to work just as well. Now, one of the disadvantages of doing container garden is that you have to buy a lot of soil, potting mixed soil, because the soil for container gardening is different from like soil for in-ground use. With container gardening, you have to pay attention to the moisture retention in the soil. So if you just get regular in-ground use that cannot really hold on to moisture, it's going to dry up really fast. And in the summer around here, it gets really hot. Keeping up with watering your plants can be a challenge. So you want soil in the container that can hold on to moisture, it can retain moisture. But at the same time, you want the soil to be able to drain, okay? Because you don't want to just put water there and it stays there in one place. So there are 2 important things that you're looking for when you are filling up your container with soil. The type of soil has to retain moisture and it also has to drain. And so if you have to go to the store and buy potting mixed soil, which is the type of soil that you should use in containers, it can get expensive really, really quickly. You want to use container sizes that will grow the plant, but at the same time, you don't have to spend so much money filling it up with soil, which is why I am experimenting with growing the fluted pumpkin in 5-gallon containers as well as 3-gallon containers to see if there's no difference. Then next time I'm just going to use the smaller container so I don't have to spend as much money buying soil. I have more things growing in containers over there. Again, this space usually did not, have anything, but because I'm doing container gardening, I can put containers almost everywhere and plant more things. Okay, so what we're looking at here is my garden eggs growing in a giant grow bag. That is a 20-gallon grow bag. Again, I have a video on a hack that you can use to fill up large containers, like 20-gallon giant grow bags, without spending a lot of money. But there are my eggplants, or garden eggs, the African garden eggs. They're doing well in the giant eggplants. Not a single fruit yet. I'm getting some flowers, but no fruit yet. This one kind of just dried up on me. I have no idea what happened, but I came one day and it was gone. I'm experiencing some blossom drops. It's producing flowers and some of it is just not going ahead and producing fruit. But I have garden eggs growing in grow bags. This is another giant grow bag down here. That one. One of the major challenges of having as many containers as I have is keeping up with watering the plants. Because you have plants growing in containers, the roots don't have a place to go to look for water. It is limited to that space in the container, which means that if you are not on top of your watering game, the plants are going to die. As opposed to you have plants growing directly in ground, even if you don't water, the roots can spread to go look for water. In containers, that is not the case. So when you're doing container gardening, you have to make sure that you pay attention to how dry the soil is all the time, and make sure that you're giving your plants enough water and also replenishing the nutrients, because again, the space is limited. That said, those are just some of the challenges with doing container gardening, but it is absolutely an option. There are a lot of things that you can grow just in containers. So space should not be a limitation. If you live in an apartment complex, look for 1 or 2 or 3 things that you can put in a container. It could be herbs, it could be something like okra, it could be peppers, it could be an ugu or fluted pumpkin plant or 2, amaranth, whatever. Those things can all grow in containers, and you could be harvesting fresh vegetables and saving yourself money, growing health at the same time. I hope this video was useful to you. I hope you picked up 1 or 2 things, and most of all, I hope you consider growing something, because when you grow a garden, you grow health. Until next time, guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not yet done so, and please share my video so that we can take this message of growing your own food to a bigger audience. Bye.